Welcome back to Assassin's Creed: The Complete Story. Now, both Rogue and Unity have come out at the exact same time, and I can only beat one at a time. So I went ahead and beat Unity, and with so many other games out there right now, I just haven't had a chance to complete Rogue. So today we're going to be going over the plot for Arnaud Dorian, and while I loved this character, his story is rather short and to the point. Now, did you like Arnaud, or do you feel that they were just trying to recapture the joy that we had with playing with Ezio? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, for those of you who are concerned, I'm not going to be revealing any of the crossover elements from Rogue to Unity. All of the crossover elements are a part of the ending to Rogue. So, when we make that video, you'll know all the crossover stuff, but if I reveal it now, then I'll ruin Rogue for you, and that's kind of pointless. So, we're just going to go ahead and not mention them as we go through the video. Now, Arnaud Dorian was raised in a noble house in Versailles. He was well educated, and he had access to everything a nobleman would get. But Arnaud's father, he was secretly an assassin. And eventually, his mother would discover this fact and leave the family. In the year 1776, when Arnaud was 8, his father would leave him with his most prized watch and tell Arnaud, "I'll be back when both of the hands are facing up." Well, his father would never return, as he would be murdered at the hands of the Templar Order. And François de la Serre, the current Grand Master of the Templars, would take the boy in out of respect for his enemy. Arnaud would grow up alongside Elise, de la Serre's daughter, and the two would become great friends. And all the while, de la Serre was keeping his role as the Templar Grand Master a secret from Arnaud. Well, one day after de la Serre left the family mansion, an important letter was to be delivered to him. Arnaud agreed to get it to de la Serre in a hurry, but in his usual playful manner, he ended up fleeing through the city from some brutes that he had irritated earlier in a bar fight. He eventually returned to the manor with no success in delivering the letter, and he heard that Elise, whom he had not seen in years, was returning to Paris and would be at a party in her honor tonight. Assuming the letter really wasn't that important, Arnaud simply slipped it under the door to de la Serre's study. He slipped into his best outfit and he hurried off to the party in hopes of stealing a romantic moment with the girl of his dreams. But as he was leaving the party, he saw de la Serre, and he saw de la Serre get assassinated, and being the closest individual to the murder, he was accused of being the assassin. This would get Arnaud placed in the Bastille, where he would be imprisoned with a man named Bellic. Bellic would take a shine to the watch that Arnaud kept on him, and one evening he stole it from him. Furious that he was imprisoned for something he didn't do and now his watch was stolen, he challenged Bellic to a fight. Bellic easily defeated Arnaud, but he then revealed to Arnaud that his father was actually an assassin, and he was one of Bellic's friends before he was assassinated. And apparently Arnaud possesses the same eagle vision skills of his father. Bellic trained Arnaud for 2 months while they were inside of the Bastille, until a civil uprising created just the distraction that they needed to get an escape going. Once they finally got free, Bellic told Arnaud to look him up later if he was interested in following in his father's footsteps, and Arnaud set off for home to talk to Elise about everything that had happened, and why she didn't come get him out. Well, apparently she assumed that Arnaud was responsible for her father's death, but he pleaded with her to understand that it wasn't him, and that her father was actually in the Templar Order, and that's why he was killed. Well, Elise revealed that she knew that her father was in the Templar Order, and she was in fact a Templar herself now. She also showed Arnaud the letter that she found slipped underneath her father's door, the one that Arnaud was supposed to deliver. And the letter would have warned de la Serre that there was those conspiring against him, and that he was going to be assassinated that evening and should stay at home. Realizing that he could have saved de la Serre, Arnaud was distraught, and Elise sent him away. He wandered the city of Paris confused, and then he realized that he could at least avenge de la Serre if he joined the assassins. So he sought them out, following Bellic's advice. Arnaud would officially be inducted into the assassins that day, and he began his journey to find the killer of de la Serre. He would also begin working with Elise on this matter, even though it would be advised by his masters that he should avoid the Templars. After a few were killed, he would find the weapon that was used to kill de la Serre and discover that it was a rare weapon made by only one silversmith. The silversmith's name was Germain, and Arnaud tracked him down to a Templar hideout, where it would appear that Germain was being held captive. Germain would point Arnaud to a man that he believed was the actual assassin of de la Serre, and Arnaud would make very short work of him, only to discover that this was the man who had written the letter trying to warn de la Serre. Well, the Assassin's Order was furious that Arnaud would kill without permission, but even though they were mad, they gave him permission to continue following the leads, and it would eventually lead him to a secret Templar meeting where Arnaud would discover that they were planning to assassinate Elise. Arnaud quickly ran to tell Elise what was going on, and he explained everything that he had done up to this point in his investigation, which included freeing a man named Germain. Well, Elise explained that Germain used to be a high-ranking Templar, but he was actually kicked from the order for his radical beliefs. Realizing that he had been fooled by Germain, Arnaud thought the only safe place that he could hide Elise would be in the assassin base, so he blindfolded her and brought her down to it. Bellic 100% disagreed with housing a Templar in the base, but the Grand Master of the Assassin Order, Marabeau, agreed to let her stay while he figured out what he was going to do with this situation. Later that evening, Arnaud decided to approach Marabeau and talk to him about what he was going to do with Elise when he discovered that Marabeau was assassinated. After a little investigation, he discovered that it was actually Bellic who had killed Marabeau. And once confronted about it, Bellic declared that he just wanted to rebuild the Order. Marabeau was going to let the Templars stay with them, and he was growing weak with his decisions. He needed a stronger resolve to lead the assassins. Bellic just wanted to revive the Order in the direction that it should be going, not the direction that Marabeau wanted to let it go. Just like Altair and Ezio and Connor. Arnaud tried to convince Bellic otherwise, but he wouldn't hear it, and eventually, Arnaud had to assassinate Bellic. Elise and Arnaud now had a mission. They needed to find a way to get close and kill Germain for everything he had done. But it wouldn't be that easy, as they would need to find a prime time to attack him because he always had guards around him. But eventually, during the execution of King Louis XVI, they managed to find a way to confront Germain. And Germain revealed that it was he who had arranged the murder of the Templar Grand Master, de la Serre, because he felt that de la Serre was growing weak, and Germain wanted to put the Templars back into power. It was also him who had arranged to have the king killed today, and this would allow the Templars to grow stronger and therefore grow his own power. But before Arnaud could kill Germain, Elise found herself in trouble, and Arnaud let Germain go so that he could save Elise. She was furious, stating that her life didn't matter, and it was all about getting the revenge. She even went as far as to tell him that she would have left him to die so that she could get her own revenge. This broke Arnaud's heart, as he was more concerned with keeping her alive and well, and Elise left him to handle Germain on her own. Well, he finally went back to the Assassin's Order after all of this, and they decided to expel him for acting on his own. And this left Arnaud with nobody and no purpose. Time would pass as Arnaud spent every night getting drunk on wine and stumbling back to his room in Versailles. But eventually, Elise would track down Germain, and she decided she needed Arnaud's help once again. She discovered that Germain was breaking into a Paris temple to acquire an artifact or something of that sort, and with Arnaud's help, they could finally get their revenge. And with her on his side again, he was able to put his hood on one more time, and they set off to end this. Arnaud and Elise would kill many of the guards, and eventually they would corner Germain as he acquired his artifact. His artifact was the Sword of Eden, a piece of the first civilization, and a sword with the power to throw lightning around. Arnaud would almost get the killing blow, but the ceiling of the temple would begin to crumble, trapping him beneath the ruins. Elise would see Arnaud trapped, and see Germain fleeing. She had to make a choice. Should she save Arnaud or get her revenge? She chose her revenge. And as Arnaud struggled to get free from the rubble, he watched as Elise was slain by Germain. And then furious, Arnaud would finally get free and he would jump on Germain, finally killing their long-awaited enemy. Arnaud then traveled and lived in Versailles, where he stayed out of the sight of the Assassin's Order, but he felt that he was redeemed in his previous actions and his mistakes by taking out Germain. And eventually, he would return to the same crypt where they had found the artifact with Napoleon, and he would find the decaying corpse of Germain, and he would take the skull of Germain and place it along the thousands of other skulls in the catacombs beneath Paris. I hope you guys enjoyed this story, and if you didn't get a chance to play Unity, or you maybe missed something in the storyline, give this video a like, because we like to keep you guys up to date and caught up with the stories. I'm Benny for Eligible Monster, and I'll see you guys next time right here.